Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov inspected the North Group of forces, which includes troops stationed in Russia's Kursk, Belgorod and Bryansk regions bordering Ukraine, the Russian military said Friday. Belousov chaired a meeting at the command post, where commanders reported on the current situation, the provision of troops in the area, and the progress of combat missions. The ministry released a video showing Belousov inspecting what they said were weapons manufactured by NATO countries and presenting medals to soldiers.
Ту работу боевую, которую вы провели сейчас вот здесь, перемалывали здесь лучшие части. И то, что сейчас вот ускорилось продвижение, сорвали мы, по сути дела, всю кампанию 25 года.
Валькирия, аналоги наши, это суперкан и зала, превышают возможности данного образца и по техническим всем характеристикам.
Штурмовые винтовки стран НАТО схожи по техническим характеристикам с нашей винтовкой СВЧ. Снайпер тяжелее нашего гранатомета на 6,5 килограмм. Прицельная дальность на 200 метров меньше.
Воинского долга награждены орденом мужества.
Вольно? Вольно! Указом президента Российской Федерации.
Поздравляю вас.
Служу России.
Поздравляю.
Для награждения прибыл.
Поздравляю.
Служу России.
Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova refused to comment on claims that Moscow had launched an intercontinental ballistic missile during a news briefing Thursday. During the news conference, Zakharova appeared to be interrupted by an unidentified man on the phone, who said, "The strike on Uzmash with ballistic missiles, which Western media started to talk about, we don't comment on it at all." The missile strike could refer to reports by Ukraine's Air Force that Russian missiles were fired at Dnipro overnight. Zakharova herself told the TASS news agency that she had asked for guidance from Russian officials before the briefing on whether to address what she called conflicting reports surrounding the attack. She said the call during the briefing was from an official saying that the attack wasn't for the Russian Foreign Ministry to comment on. Zakharova later called a missile defense base in Redzikowo, Poland, as potentially one of Russia's priority targets. Given the nature and level of threats arising from such Western military facilities, a missile defense base in Poland has long been added to the list of priority targets for potential destruction, which, if necessary, can be provided with a wide range of the latest weapons, she said. Zakharova also commented on a statement by Estonia's foreign minister which urged European leaders to be prepared to deploy troops to Ukraine to ensure the success of any peace deal. Maybe they somehow don't get that the appearance of a NATO contingent in the Ukrainian territory would mean the alliance entering a war against our country, Zakharova said.
Да. Алло. Да, у меня брифинг.
Маршал удар баллистическими ракетами, о чем Запад не стали говорить, не комментируете.
Да, хорошо, спасибо. Подтягивание к российским рубежам военной инфраструктуры НАТО, это объективно ведет к подрыву стратегической стабильности и вкупе с другими пагубными мерами военно-политического, военно-технического свойства, нацеленными на проецирование американской мощи за тысячи километров от национальной территории США в целях оказания силового давления на Россию и некоторые другие ядерные державы, это естественным образом ведет к нарастанию стратегических рисков и, как следствие, к повышению общего уровня ядерной опасности. С учетом характера и уровня угроз, возникающих от подобного рода западных военных объектов, база противоракетной обороны в Польше давно пополнила список приоритетных целей для потенциального поражения, что при необходимости может быть обеспечено широким спектром новейших вооружений. Я не знаю, чем кого они будут подкреплять, 4000 человек. Она подстрекает остальных членов Альянса поучаствовать в заведомо обреченной на провал авантюре. Я не понимаю, может, до них как-то не доходит, что появление на территории Украины контингентов НАТО будет означать вступление альянса в войну против нашей страны. Мы об этом же неоднократно им говорили. Может, не читают?
The Russian Ministry of Defense does not have the real figures of its own losses in the war against Ukraine. There is total confusion and chaos in the Russian armed forces. This was stated by Russian propagandist, member of the Club of Angry Patriots, Mikhail Polinkov. The propagandist claimed that the Russian army has very poorly kept track of losses. Local command is hiding the real figures and there is complete confusion. How many are officially missing in action? And no one knows. I'm sure the Defense Ministry doesn't know either. Surely the unit keeps some kind of records, but damn, I know, including my own regiment, how many dead souls there are. That's why there's confusion. There should be a common database, a structure, but that's nowhere to be found. That's why no one knows exactly how many are missing, how many have died, how many are in captivity, Polinkov said. Speaking about this, he even shed a tear. It should be noted that according to the New York Times, in 1,000 days of war, the Russian Federation has lost about 400,000 soldiers killed and wounded, over 150 of which are confirmed deaths of Russian occupiers. After every conflict, sometimes every battle, the dead are buried, the wounded are cared for, and efforts are made to free prisoners. And then there are the invisible. Those who cannot be found, neither alive nor dead. Those whom the war has swallowed up. The missing whose families hope for their return. It's an anxiety that can last an eternity. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the International Committee of the Red Cross set up the largest search operation for the dead, wounded, prisoners and missing since the Second World War. It created an ad hoc structure called the Central Tracing Agency Bureau for the international armed conflict between the Russian Federation and Ukraine, based in Geneva, with branches in Kiev and Moscow. The legal situation presents an extremely difficult case, one that the relatives of the disappeared have been trying to overcome with their ceaseless efforts. The attitudes of the Russian authorities have reflected this difficulty perfectly. The Russian authorities' responses to the applicants' efforts were opaque and abdicative, typically consisting of statements that no information was available and that they would refer the inquiry to another agency. The eternal limbo between the military and civil prosecutors seems to be the first and most important problem in the legal system concerning the forcibly disappeared. This problem has unfortunately escalated due to the constant instructions of the military prosecutors to the relatives of the disappeared, telling them to submit their petitions to the civil prosecutors, despite the latter's incompetence in matters of military apparatus and personnel.